Yesterday was 2nd October, Gandhi Jayanti, Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary. The UN also declared this day, 2nd October, as the International Day of Non-Violence. Violence is an actual attempt to cause physical harm, injury, death, and sometimes even psychological trauma to an individual or to a group of people. But violence is not always direct. There can be also indirect forms of violence, also known as passive aggression. Passive aggression is a form of violence where a person doesn't have the courage to say what he wants, withdraws and begins to show anger, annoyance, rage, and a certain kind of aggression, but in a very surreptitious way. He or she withdraws, stops talking, begins to sulk, and begins to cause a different kind of violent damage to the person who he or she targets. Welcome. Welcome to today's episode of how to understand passive aggression. I repeat, passive aggression is a form of violence, albeit couched in a different form or in a different method. There are two reasons why people indulge in passive aggression. One, they fear that if they were to be violent and say what they have to say, they may not be able to self-regulate, control themselves, and cause far more harm than they possibly would like to the opposite person or to the group. So it is their fear of their inability to control themselves that makes them use this method of violence. They believe that they are not being violent, not realizing that the psychological damage to the receiver may be far worse than the physical violence if they chose it. 2. Many a time people who use passive aggression are afraid that if they were to really speak their mind, show their annoyances and dissatisfactions, the other person would pretty much put them in their place and push back. Lacking self-trust to be able to interact and to engage in a kind of a healthy discussion, they use passive violence as a safety for themselves. Today, communication is the key to healthy relationships. Yes, we can all disagree, we can have differences of opinion, variance of ideas, etc. But to believe that by withdrawing, sulking, using different methods to showcase your anger and resentment is going to help your relationship is unfortunately not a very smart idea. Relationships go south because of silence. It is time for you to accept that differences are a possibility, but the dissatisfactions don't need to escalate into a disturbance. Remember, silence is not golden. Passive aggression is violence, albeit in a couched and in a different form. Save your relationship from silence. If you like what you hear, please do hit the like button. Please do share my video and continue to write to me at varkha@varkhacholani.com. Till next week, it's goodbye and thank you.